that same company basically said, boss, I am not happy with 75 lakhs. I want
Oh,
a 2
that
crore
was,
check.
that was
Like that.
fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Big
As you
distinction.
grow older,
Yeah.
you realize there's joy,
Yeah.
there's happiness, there is satisfaction. Khushi, anand, samaadaan.
Hi.
There's a difference.
McKinsey for me didn't happen as like a gold medal. It was like a, oh wait, there's lots of confused people here also. You don't have to make a decision.
I come from a time when for a middle class Indian, धंधा मतलब चोरी. वो simple thing. ऐसा ही है.
Meghana, Mandar, I think just thrilled to have you for the whole day today. Of course, like you guys are people I've looked up to for many years in the context of being senior at McKinsey, and then of course to see the kind of amazing things that you have done. But just kind of wanted to spend the next hour and a half just kind of exploring lives, talking about topics that are important. These are usually freewheeling chats. They are, and given that you guys are, have an amazing chemistry, I don't have to worry much about what are the topics we can touch on. But broadly, I think what we have seen with people who follow us, who enjoy listening to the BarberShop, is just authentic, experiential conversations through our lives, right? And we have lived. We've been thankful, kind of, to have lived rich ones. We have seen kind of people open up, especially after some alcohol. So hopefully that happens. But I just wanted to start off with your broad reflections from today and the kind of general views on entrepreneurship as you see them, either through investing or building your own enterprises. But we can start with that.
So, do you want to go first or?
Firstly, thanks so much actually, for calling me. I really had fun today. Besides the two of you, of course, which was very nice to hang out with you. Actually, the breadth of people that we met today, even like just the four, right, was amazing. I mean, we are a little bit in our own little cocoon and bubble, right? And the people that we meet regularly, this list, right, of people. But when it's great. It's basically what's happened is it's truly has become mainstream now, right? Where there's a guy from Bhopal, and like a woman who's a scientist who's thinking, hey, I can also commercialize this.
Yeah.
There were always people who did science. There were always people who sold T-shirts in a shop and this thing. It's not like that wasn't happening, right? We've been a country of entrepreneurs. But now that thinking that, what, there are other ways to grow. I can raise capital other ways and scale it up, and it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. You're right. It was a very diverse group of people from not only the ideas and the businesses they were building, but also like their backgrounds, the way they spoke, their ages. There was some very young, very old. Yeah, but I agree. What about you, Mandar? Like reflection from today?
Look, I think firstly, what an idea, man. Good job. Good idea.
Thank you.
I love it. These 50 people, as she said, we all know, I mean, you know all of them. I think I know almost all of them, if not all of them. But getting this group together to say that, we invest as one. You take the calls, you invite a couple of people here. I think it's just a brilliant idea. I think in terms of, they were all great. It was a great time. This is so good. Did you actually specifically think about Meghna and me together, or it just happened? Because I think it was perfect. Because she and I have had a blast when we were working together, and we generally tend to have a blast when we are together. But did you think about it that way specifically?
No, I actually wanted both of you specifically for Cerigen. So Cerigen was the first company I thought of when I said we will schedule this. Then I like, who are the 2-3 people who will on this list? This list of 50 is 50 today. When we had spoken, which was around last week or last to last week, this list was 35. So in that 35, I was thinking, who are the 2 people or 3 people? If I was thinking of one more person who will genuinely enjoy interacting with, meeting with, and then help take a call on behalf of everyone else. And you guys came to mind. I was actually at Ashgo's place in Bangalore, about to enter his birthday party, where he was already completely like hammered. And I was thinking, how can I call? Like, I was like, let's just call up Meghna. I was thinking of writing to you and saying, hey, can we speak for 5 minutes? Let's block a slot. I was like, kaun karega? I just called her up. She was kind enough to pick up the phone. We closed, and then over WhatsApp we were closed. But on a broader note, I completely agree. And it's amazing that I thought of it's actually fairly audacious to think that I can take very casual feedback from people who say, wherever you're investing money, I'll also put.
No, but your WhatsApp message, I'll tell you, which you sent.
That video.
The video. Smart move.
What
Because-
video?
Oh, you didn't get it.
I sent you the video.
He had to pitch to you. I was the easy
Or
side.
rather, he had to pitch to you in person. I got the canned video, buddy. So,
You didn't get the video.
Dikha do,
I
dikha
didn't
do.
get the video.
No, I sent the video to. I think I sent the video to the Bombay Shaving Company investor group,
Oh.
and then to founders, I kind of just called and
ठीक है,
got
ठीक
them
है,
involved.
कोई बात नहीं.
Anyway, but I think it was very clear, yeah, because if you think of the proposition from the equity, what is the
Seeker.
word? Equity seekers point of view, right? It's you get 40 investments. Irrespective of how much you put in, it gets divided into 40. Your risk is minimized.
Correct.
Your return is maximized because you are evaluating all 40 of them.
Correct.
I think it's from a purely financial point, it's a sweet deal.
Correct.
Plus, I figured that I would get to meet a bunch of people through the process over the year, and it's begun with her, so which is great.
Yeah.
And you, of course. So it's great. But one reflection from my day was actually, so all 4 were fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what was my surprise packet of the day, and I'm going to go home and unpack this fully with Anita because I need to really reflect. The healthcare company, Serena?
Serigen.
Serigen.
I got emotional, man. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys spotted it.
I did.
And I was wondering why? What's going on? Even now I'm feeling it. There was something about the Marathi accent, the fact that it was science. I just felt कि यार इसमें हम लोग नहीं करेंगे तो मैं तो कर रहा हूँ.
Yeah.
That's what I said, right? कि I feel like I must enter here. It almost felt like God's work has to be done here.
Yeah.
Scientists, innovators looking
Yeah.
to capitalize on their innovation, not sure how to go about it, in my view.
Yeah, of course.
Uh,
And non-trivial
so-
go-to
No,
market,
and
right?
let's be clear,
and
right?
and
It's not
non-trivial
like-
innovation. They have done the tough part.
Yeah.
This marketing and all this stuff is the easy bit, yeah. That's what people like us do, right?
Yeah.
But they have done the tricky bit of figuring out a damn
How
product
to
which
use
is
silk.
which is
For like reconstructive surgery, that's
so really.
In a human being's body.
yeah. And it's been successful.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing, right?
So that was my sort of moment of the day. But again, all 4 were amazing and
Yeah.
just really
It kind
good
of makes me
experience.
reflect. You're right. Kind of on 2 fronts, right? One is that there is so much enterprise in the country, and you're right. Maybe it was there before,
Yeah.
but maybe just okay to not be ambitious because they could not
Yeah.
think bigger
तो
because of
bank
whatever
loan
reason.
कहाँ से मिलेगा?
Resource scarce economy,
Yeah.
whatever you might call it 20 years back. But today, for the same enterprising people to be super ambitious, come to forums like this,
Yeah.
kind of, that same company basically said, boss, I am not happy with 75 lakhs. I want a 2 crore check.
That was
Like
fantastic. I loved it.
I agree.
I loved it.
I agree. And and you could, like, you
And
probably
you,
have-
No,
man,
we see it
Stone
all the
Cold
time.
Steve Austin, your negotiation power is like.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll talk about that
We
later.
talk about that. Certain things we should keep offline.
no, it's okay. So the thing with,
You are like a push show.
no, I did.
I know, we were like, both of us
So
looking
you
at
are
each other, we were like, did we just
you were
agree?
today a very interesting combination of being like stone cold, like no 50 lakhs and no so sort of stating facts, and then suddenly you would slyly slip in and up to 1.2 CR. Hey, bhai, ये क्या हो गया?
Team Mandar.
हाँ, I was like, अरे अभी तो बात किया था वो, what just happened? That was fun.
Yeah, I know.
No, but I think we got the right
But I
right
have
deal.
to say, I agree with you. I felt really happy when she stood her ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, women don't do that.
Yeah.
I
Like,
almost feel,
kilo.
you know what? I almost feel like we should get Serigen to meet Prateek. No? Yeah, and Prateek will be like, आप बताइए, and she will actually teach the guy a few things because he's going to the Thai Pune group, na?
Yeah.
I'm serious. She will teach him a few things about being commercial and bloody minded because she's learnt it the hard way. Yeah. I just
Yeah.
noticed.
Well, I think also getting government grants to kind of fund a business,
It's a
such as
tough
R&D,
thing, yeah. It's a
NCL,
very tough thing.
Not
US.
easy. Nothing in that process so far has been easy. I mean, in general, this stuff is hard, but
Also academics,
amazing.
right? Academics, I don't think it comes naturally to academics in India to build businesses.
Anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
It's not just.
Hey, US में थोड़ा Stanford, में there is
नहीं,
that-
but वो fund. So the classic route for academics to take is take your innovation and out license. That is the proven methodology globally in
Which is
all
what you were
fields.
trying
Which
to
is what
tell
I
her
was
to.
saying. Ki
Yeah.
do it. I love that she said, मेरे को कमर्शियलाइज
ये
करने का
मेरा है
A,
यार।
हाँ, and B वो कमर्शियलाइज होगा तभी people will realize the full value of it. I really liked her answer, and
Yeah.
Meghna was telling me, and it was right. I began by saying, "Are you really sure?" I myself am not really sure, and then I listened to their answers, so well thought through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was clear that they have really, reflected, introspected,
Yeah.
and so I felt कि भाई दम है.
No,
Dodgy नहीं, risky है, but then that's what
that's
all businesses are.
Yeah. I think when I joined McKinsey in 2011, it was almost, it was unheard of, at least for me, to think about starting up as a genuine career option post McKinsey, despite my father being a seasoned entrepreneur and kind of being exposed to the world. I never thought that leaving and starting up would be an option within the next 3, 4, 5 years. But you both have taken that leap in different ways. But I actually wanted to just start with either of you as to what was McKinsey like, and what was exiting to the world of entrepreneurship, startups, building a P&L in a company like OYO. What was it like? And for you, of course, Slurrp Farm, which is a story I relate to a little bit more closely because it's similar time and similar kind of space.
Yeah.
But
No, I think, look, for me, McKinsey is a very, very dramatic, life-changing event, which then became a life-changing journey. And it is not a stretch to say, not a stretch at all, to say that who I am professionally is because of McKinsey.
yeah,
And who I am personally, also McKinsey has had a role to play, because for the longest time, all my friends were in McKinsey, my life was in McKinsey, and McKinsey tends to be an all-consuming thing. And I didn't just drink the Kool-Aid, buddy. I set up a manufacturing plant for the Kool-Aid, and I gave intravenous Kool-Aid to everyone. And I was
you
and I
were
am a
card-carrying
McKinsey
member.
evangelist. I really,
Yeah.
truly believe in the firm. I still do. I think one of the most amazing things the firm did for me, and remember, I am much older than you guys. I joined in 2002, born in 76, was 16 in 1992 when we had 2 brands of cars and 2 channels on television. I was already 16 at the time, right? I think it was still seeping in. The standard thing for a Marathi middle class person was that you get a job and then you retire.
correct.
And I had already taken a dramatic leap of faith by doing my MBBS and then doing an MBA,
Correct.
which I must credit my mother for.
Oh, really?
She got bored of me sulking around, and she asked me one day, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, I don't want to be a doctor. She said, so then don't be. I said, but I am already. She said, so who's told you have to do it? Am I putting pressure on you? Is your father? No. Do something about it. I said, मैं क्या करूँ? She said, you go figure it out. अब मैं ये भी मैं बताऊँ. So I was like, to be fair, if my parents are not, I must. So I'd already taken that leap of faith and found it liberating. And now McKinsey came in and it transformed my life. So for me, the idea that I joined McKinsey was epochal, right?
Yeah.
There was a moonlit night on Nagaon beach with my best friend Dhaval, who's now a surgeon in Bombay. Second year of medicine. Heavily drunk at some 2:30 a.m. We start discussing कितना पैसा चाहिए यार life में.
हाँ.
So at 2:30 a.m. our minds turn into calculators. हम लोग कुछ खतरनाक calculation करते हैं.
96,
Daily.
97
दो
types?
डॉक्टर
This is 96.
कैलकुलेशन कर
We
रहे
are
हैं.
doing some amazing calculations saying grocery charges, कितने बच्चे होंगे, school fees, कुछ. And he was like, मेरे को तो बच्चे नहीं चाहिए, हाँ तो तेरा अलग, मेरा अलग, कुछ some amazing calculation we do and we come up with a number. Cut forward several years, I joined McKinsey post
Sorry,
MBA.
what was that number?
I'm sure he's coming to it.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
So I'll tell you the number. The number was 50,000 rupees a month. Cut forward 6 years from them, I joined McKinsey. First month salary comes in, aspiration done. Abhi kya karne ka life mein? So that's what McKinsey has meant for me, right? It's a company which met my life aspirations in month 1 of my job.
Wow.
When that happens, first 3-4 years though, I was just desperate to not lose the job. I was like, bhai, and I was in this massive imposter syndrome. I have not fully grown out of it. But तभी तो I was convinced कि ये लोग गलती से मेरे को hire कर दिया है. अभी किसी भी तरह just do enough so that you don't get fired. Don't like screw up on anything, and that's a horrible way to live. No one should go through that, but I did. But eventually I made it through. Then I became partner, and then I think momentum and inertia carried me through. It gave me a lot. I learned a lot. It was fantastic. I reached a point where I realized that I had just completely stopped growing. I was not learning anything new. It happened to me when we ended a project. Fantastic, impactful, amazing project. And I felt nothing. And I was like, this is not right. Wow. This is not right. Because until 6 months back, these kind of things became like, and you guys know me, right? They truly became life encompassing for me. Ki, kya impact kiya? Like I was a true naive, values believer for 15 years. Yeah. And then I said, ki, yaar, time is up. Ab dekhte. And then from then on, it was just a journey of truly convincing ki, is it really over? Because I asked myself that question 100 times. So by the time I went and told Gautam, I was very sure. I didn't leave McKinsey to do something. I left McKinsey because it was over.
Wow. I remember actually, to be honest, I remember Mandar and I never worked together. You never were a faculty for me also in any BCR, which we used to do we only used to meet at NHO and other parties. But the one thing that he did for me, by the way, I remember, he took the one training that is needed for you to become an interviewer at McKinsey. When you make EM or AP, whatever, when you make EM, you have to go through a training where you then can interview. I attended the one, but I still distinctly remember the enthusiasm and effort with which he actually did that 3-4 hour effort was incredible. So I relate to what you say, and I think that it's a very innocent love for the firm, which a lot of us kind of carry.
No, and I was making a point which the beer took away so I blame it. Took away my chain of thought. But I come from a time when for a middle class Indian, धंधा मतलब चोरी. Simple thing. ऐसा ही है. I grew up watching Amitabh Bachchan Angry Young Man movies. Right? So, and my father joined RCF as his first job, and then he retired one fine day. That's it. He did one job for a PSU. Yeah. We lived in RCF colony. We were all in. My mother was a housewife. Classical Marathi. Everyone is highly educated. My sisters were educated. I am obviously a postgraduate and so on. Right. So, coming from that to then join McKinsey and see that in the highest echelons of the corporate world, truth, honesty, integrity is uncompromisable.
Correct.
Such an important lesson so early on in life. I wonder if I had joined a company with dubious values, what would have happened to me? I don't know. I was influenceable. I was fully vulnerable. Yeah. I was ready to be influenced. Let me put it that way.
Wow.
And then McKinsey instilled this. So I really credit McKinsey a lot for that above everything else. I spent 2 years doing a bunch of things. I was telling you that I enjoyed coaching and teaching particularly a lot. But then it reached a point where I began to miss the fact that I'm not doing things end to end. That sense of completion was gone. And also a sense of belonging.
Correct.
I craved belonging somewhere. McKinsey gave me such a tremendous sense of belonging. So then I thought that, यार वैसे भी data science, tech, digital ये सब सुन रहा हूँ, कुछ आता तो है नहीं. P&L भी life में कभी run करना है, belong भी करना है. Let's join a startup. So then I met a whole bunch of startups. Far and away, Ritesh and the OYO management team was the most humble, most down to earth. It seemed at the time most aware of what their pitfalls were and what their good things were. So I said, let's join it. Luckily, they have turned out to be exactly that. It's been a tumultuous ride, punctuated by COVID and dramatic punctuation mark, but just amazing, man. Just amazing. Yeah. The feeling of responsibility can be stressful, but the control that comes with that responsibility, as we were just discussing, is really something that I missed a lot in McKinsey in retrospect. Because in McKinsey, as a McKinsey partner, the control you have is, you have control on the impact, but you don't always have control on how the client feels about the impact. Whereas here, it's a question of, it's your business. Yes, I'm not the founder, but it's your business. जो हो रहा है वो तुम्हारा हो रहा है, and in a way you do your best, and then the market responds in a certain way. जो हो गया वो हो गया. Meeting के अंदर क्या होगा, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
Performance तो हो गया market में. Now we have numbers देख के now we can shout at each other and say you didn't do a good job, you did a good job. So I think that certain feeling of on the one hand control on the market, on the other not needing to perform, all the time. I've just found it a fabulous experience. So really looking forward.
Were there any other opportunities that were close, like in terms of
there were
CEO of a public business?
Yeah. There were 2 others. So I met around 10. Okay. There were 3 which shortlist, whatever. So there were 3 close to the end. I obviously won't name the other 2. But
what kind of business? What kind of opportunities were there?
So I was looking entirely at digital businesses.
Okay.
So all the business, so both of these were online businesses.
Okay.
Therefore, both of them involved data science as well as technology and product. They were all Indian startups, obviously, and they were all startups. And I was getting a predominant P&L role.
Correct.
So reasonably chunky, not like some chutku thing.
Correct.
So इस type के थे. I think it all boiled down to the equation I felt I had with the promoter. With the founder, one thing I must credit both of these companies, which I eventually didn't join, and OYO, is that all of them took a lot of trouble to speak with me, because I was very insistent that I have to get along with the people, यार नहीं तो मेरे से नहीं होगा. And so ये interview coffee shop में 1 घंटा मिलके मजा नहीं आ रहा है, कैसे करें? They all invited me in problem solving, which I really treasure those memories, and I thank them for it even today, right? Which is that they allowed me to enter non-confidential type of problem solving settings where perhaps they were discussing something which is ghisa pita and everyone knows about, or some thing linked to distribution or something like that. But it allowed me to get a flavor of those companies. So they were close. I think, as I said, at the end of the day, for me it was Ritesh's ability to say, this one, you're asking me about this, ये तो हमसे गलती हो गई, ये तो गलत ही था, ये तो करना ही नहीं चाहिए था, मैंने क्यों किया, तभी किया कुछ वजह से डॉक्टर, बट ये तो गलत ही था. I really admire founders who are able to say that was a mistake, buddy. Good intentions, but it was a mistake. We won't do it again. ठीक है. I just found that very disarming and very wonderful that he's able to say that to me in essentially a recruitment meeting.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me, and then of course there were a lot of ex-colleagues in OYO by the time I joined who I knew very well. Rohit was there, Guru was there, there were a bunch of people there, and Shriram, Damani, Mandy. I mean, it's OYO in a way has a lot of ex-McKinsey folks.
Correct.
So that answered.
Lochap is also, but
Lochap was also there at the time. Yeah, he actually joined later. When I joined, he wasn't there, but he joined later, and he joined the vacation homes business. I worked with Lochap in Europe as well.
Correct. He's now starting up on his own.
Yeah, he is starting.
Have you invested?
I haven't invested. Not yet.
Fideo. Actually, I was trying to connect him with for a co-founder position. He was looking for a co-founder. And the first name that came to mind, given he wants to do something in fintech, have you ever worked with Ayesha Jaggi?
Of course.
I worked with Ayesha.
We both worked
she was
with
in
her.
healthcare for the longest time.
Yeah,
we worked together with Ayesha Jaggi.
So I told Lochap the one person who comes to mind for you is Ayesha. She had not joined Plaid or whatever that company is by then. But she wanted to move out of McKinsey and do that. But I don't know. I think they met in London, but I don't know what happened after that. But yeah, I think amazing to see. Actually, OYO is a place where first of all, it's super amazing that senior partners from McKinsey find places which are rewarding in startups in India. I think that fact by itself is extraordinary for me. Like, I don't think that would have happened 10 years back.
Oh, no chance.
Or 15 years.
I mean, these kind of startups didn't also exist 10 or 15 years back. And I think perhaps, and I can't speak on behalf of senior partners 10 or 15 years before I was there. But the fact is that, and I was a partner, not a, I forget that senior partner is actually equal to director in the past. So, so I was a senior partner in the sense I was senior and a partner, but not a senior. But yeah, but at the time it was just not a viable career move, I think, for many senior partners in McKinsey. I think more established companies, more traditional companies were the way to go, where you could still run a P&L potentially.
Yeah.
But I think this new world is just
Fascinating.
amazing and fascinating. And for me, it was very simple. It was like, last chance hai, boss. You're bloody, beyond 40 now. Ye data, digital tech, seekho. Or, so I said, let's put myself in a position where my neck is on the line, where I can't perform if I don't understand these things. And now, when I say I understand, it's a little bit like how I understand the television.
Yeah.
I don't really know how it works, but I can use the remote. It's a bit like that, I can work with a tech team now. Give me a business problem and a tech team, वो हो जाएगा solve. वो मेरे पे छोड़ दो, मैं solve कर देगा. वो लोग क्या कर रहा है actually एकदम से नहीं आता. It's like running the TV. So I'm sorry to say this, but that's the analysis. That's how I view it.
Pradeep was saying the other day with Uber, like now I broadly know which product managers are kind of slacking off and which ones are not. I now broadly know what's going on. कि कौन सा feature actually complicated और कौन सा नहीं है वो पता चल जाता है broadly. No, but सही है. But Meghana, what about you? What the journey from being a swimmer for India to Oxford to to McKinsey, and then like of course we spoke about your UVC experience, but how did that happen, and then kind of leading into starting up your own consumer brand?
So I think mine is, not as much as exciting as his, I feel.
Swimmer for India? Are you kidding me? I want to be a swimmer for India, but it's too late.
But I think the swimming was, age 9. My parents moved to Bangalore. Bangalore has it's all place and time, right? In some ways, why did you leave McKinsey? There was a whole world out there which was exciting and moving, right? And I feel a lot of, we are all a product of our circumstance, and I'm not an exception. I'm just a very hardworking one, which is I just went into the swimming pool. I got my first medal, and there was no looking back.
Wow.
I just loved winning. I think that was the first time I stood on the victory stand. I was like, I really like this place.
Don't want to get down.
Yeah, I don't want to get down. So that was it. I think it didn't matter. We used to swim 100 kilometers a week.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot.
That's crazy.
My best friends actually of my life, I have some school friends, but my swimming pool friends are like super, super tight. My biggest competitors, in some ways, know me best. Not in some ways, they know me best, and also are best friends, because the race was in the pool. After we came out, friends only. So it was a big career, I would say. In some ways, it was after that everything was going to be a bit hard act to follow, right? Yeah. In fact, in my Rhodes Scholarship interview, I got taken out by Girish Karnad, who's no more, who goes like, "So you're the best swimmer in the country. Are you the best engineer?" Wow. And I was like, I can safely say no. Or mathematician, no. I think that was Ramanujam. So I always knew that after that, it was always going to be difficult, right? So I had to find another hook, because winning was not all, and also life is not always like about getting a medal. So through college, whatever, you jump through the hoops as a South Indian kid, you do engineering, whatever. And then I think when McKinsey for me didn't happen as like a gold medal. It was like oh wait, there's lots of confused people here also. Yeah. You don't have to make a decision, right? You can just, 3 months is the worst bad move you can make, because they're all short projects. And I was like, chalo, this is a fast way to understand the world of business and so on. And I also had imposter syndrome, because I was like, I just finished a master's degree at Oxford in mathematics. And I was like, yahan pe na, sab business.
But something weird is happening.
And I still remember one of my first projects, Kuldeep Jain told me to build the cost curve for every single industry market in the country, and I was like, sure. And I walked out, and Utsav Bejal, who's now on our board, was like, you don't know what a cost curve is, do you? So I was like, no, but you and I am Ahmedabad, so you will tell me. And he's like, no, go back in there and ask him, what is the risk? No, not everybody's born knowing what a cost curve is. So I was like, I feel that was like a really good life lesson, right? Not to feel like, oh, I should know the answer.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So for me, actually, more than the firm's aura didn't actually mean anything to me. It was some of the people, and Mandar certainly is in that list of people, who I learned so much from on a daily basis, and they added so much joy to my life on a daily basis. I think that's why I stayed almost a decade. Right? It was across 2 countries. I've made some of my second sort of, I'd say, phase life friends in that phase, right? It's the people you call and you ask the dumb questions even today. Hey, I'm thinking of starting another brand. How should I think about the org structure? Will you help me think through it first, principles? So it's still this thing, and of course that group of people is just amazing. In my head, at least in the letter you write to yourself in business school, right? In 10 years' time, what is the letter you want to read to 10 whatever this thing year old Meghna? And in that letter, it's very funny. I've written I've
exactly
done.
all of
I
this.
was serious.
Yeah, and I just wrote it like last minute, right? Because for
Well done.
Wow. So you probably do.
It's insane that whatever secret manifest business, it clearly कुछ तो करता है वो काम.
But
I
what
don't
was the
actually
letter?
believe in stuff like that. But no, I had written that I would go back to the firm because husband had started his PhD. So I was like, oh, London, that'll be easy way to do it. I'll just go back to McKinsey. And then I will start I didn't say food company. I said, I will do something, I will run a P&L, have an entrepreneurship venture. It'd be great to do it with a friend. Even that is written. Who the friend was, I hadn't met Shorvi yet. And so I guess it all happened, right? And which is a bit crazy. But I think that Kida was there to think of starting, and you couldn't again. Like it's like I wanted to do engineering in Bangalore. How could you not, right? वो Infosys बन रहा है, Wipro बन रहा है. Same, right? यहाँ पे इतने सारे शांतनु भी कर रहा है.
Why do I get ragged in this? I always, that day Rahul had said, were ragging me. I was ragged in this McKinsey. But I agree with you.
Everybody is doing it, तो कुछ तो try तो बनता है types. And I've always not had a big, what's the worst that can happen, right? You can lose. I've won 400 gold medals, but I've lost also 400, right? There's many silver medals there that I don't talk about.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Like what's the, like of course it'll hurt. Not it doesn't hurt, but it's okay if it doesn't work out.
Correct.
And the co-founder was there, right? I'd met Shorvi in London. We'd always talked about kuch to karenge. And after I got made junior partner, she called me and she's like, now you're never going to leave. And I was like, no, who said? So we started talking and very quickly we arrived at, food. Now, nobody's doing anything in this clean food space especially for young children. And it just appealed, right? At my core, it was like, this is great. It's not just, yes, we will make a big, profitable, huge company, but it'll also be like amazing, right? You've provided all these kids this thing. India is like this, like the macro picture just appealed to me. We are like this diabetic nation, cardiovascular disease, wo public health slides jo likhte the. And I was like, there's a product now that can potentially reverse all this stuff and change some of those numbers because it's not just a poor country problem, it's across the board.
Yeah.
So all of that felt very exciting, and so it was a combination of her of course, which is sort of, I've married the same person twice. She irritates me in the same ways that Arunaba does. But, it's been, and also is amazing. So I think that's worked really nicely, right? So I think, again, finding the right person and now the team that we're building, right, together.
What was the biggest challenge for you with Slurrp Farm specifically?
Oh my God, you don't got enough time for that.
Like if you gun to your head to choose one?
So I think, you know how it is, right? You're always, like you wake up on Monday morning and there's 25 problems that you have to solve, and you basically fighter, co-fighter 1 and co-fighter 2, right? Yeah. Founder and all is just a fancy title for LinkedIn. There's always issues, right? You're trying to grow quick. I was just talking to somebody 15 minutes ago and he's like, how's it going? And I was like, okay. And then I was like, actually, what am I saying? It's going really well. Yeah. It's just that we always wish it was like bigger, higher, stronger, faster, everything day before yesterday, right? Correct. That's the problem.
Correct.
But I have nothing to complain about. We've built, whatever little we've built is amazing. Actually, Google came and did a presentation to us and they said, after a large brand, if you look at kids' food, that's it, it's you. I was like, oi.
That's amazing.
That just felt so nice, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's something really special in what we've built. Mums are, whatever we felt, they've also felt.
Yeah.
So it's chamcode. Obviously, miles to go and all that, as we all know. But I think the first thing was also, I'm not a food technologist, she's not a food technologist. We went in there and asked like, why you want to put this soy lecithin, why you want to do this. We asked her some really, like maybe that's what it took, dumb questions. But getting it right, the amount of like effort and money it took to get the first lot going and to get that out. Also a little bit, I'll credit McKinsey, delusion.
Yeah.
You to think you can solve any problem by
world
yourself.
peace.
Na?
Yeah,
Aap na, if you break it down into small enough pieces,
Yeah.
you can solve it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't quite work that way sometimes, and you just need somebody who freaking knows how to make a cookie.
Yeah.
Right? And all it took, like, I'll never forget the day that this expert guy came, because I sat at the end of the line with the cookie man and I cried, because he just shifted the water amount.
And it happened.
And it came out beautifully.
Oh
And I
wow.
was like, wow, yaar, main kya kar rahi thi?
Issue tree could not give it that answer.
No, I genuinely feel MECE is a complete, like it's completely false. There is nothing that is MECE.
What?
No, I don't think there is anything that is
There is
MECE.
nothing.
Everything influences
There is
everything else.
nothing that is MECE.
Ah.
That is why you need a McKinsey consultant to create it. No?
No, I have tried very hard, by the way,
Yeah.
maybe in the context of a consumer brand,
Yeah.
across problem statement, whether it is distribution, product, marketing, brand strategy, nothing is MECE. I
No, it
try my-
influences each other. That is true.
Fully.
Yeah.
It's not small correlations that you can ignore with a dotted line. You
correct,
can't.
no.
I have very confidently gotten up in review meetings and said, guys, let me break the problem down for you. Gone to the whiteboard and failed fully. Like, it's just not realizing this shit, yaar, this is
Yeah.
very hard to do. And I used to be damn good at it at McKinsey. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's a maturity of business and predictability of variables in a
Yeah, I'll
zinc
tell you
market.
actually, it's like who said it? Mike Tyson said it, right?
Because you're not
When-
responsible, that somebody else is going to implement. That's
Exactly.
why it's okay.
And
Yes.
Mike Tyson, I think, or some famous general, I think Mike Tyson, when these boxers do this posturing, right?
Huh.
I think there was one, I think Holyfield wala hi fight mein, where Holyfield said that, I'm not sure, you can figure it out in the edit, who actually said it and put it below me here saying, actually it wasn't Mike Tyson. But I think the other boxer said that I've got a fully laid out plan for how I'm going to take Tyson down.
Huh.
And Tyson said, let's see how his plan survives my first punch. and I think that's what the MECE issue tree can be made. But then when you go into the market, which now as I know, वो पूरा कुछ कहीं से फूस left field, something happens which you
Because
which
वो
cannot be
vacuum ही
thought
नहीं
to.
हो रहा है ना.
And then it influences everything in your tree, from distribution to brand to people to some person leaves because they don't believe in the plan. कुछ भी हो सकता है.
Correct.
So you're right in that.
On the
sense,
McKinsey slide, it's usually like one small footnote, assumption, this.
ये हो
ये तो होगा नहीं कोई बड़ा वाला.
और वो हो गया तो 0-1 फटाक खलास. That is true.
Correct.
But what about you, Mandar? What's been the biggest challenge over the last 4 years?
Professionally,
Actually, that's a good point. We'll come to the personal bits later. But professionally-
without a doubt, COVID, without any doubt. I mean,
But like, if I were to like kind of,
So I think just, what happens when you're building towards a particular plan which has gone through intense problem solving, tremendous orchestration of execution across 9 countries, you've got it going, and then suddenly your revenue gets taken away by law.
Ouch.
2 weeks my revenue sank by 97%. Suddenly my P&L, everything was red. I had only cost. I had no revenue. And then I was like, my God, and I was 6 months in OYO.
fuck.
I was like, what happened? And then all of us got together, the CXO group, and we said maybe it'll last a week. And then we said maybe it'll last 2 weeks. And then it was, buddy, it ain't going away. What do we do now? And I think and that's where I credit Ritesh and all my colleagues, right? It was a tough thing to say we have to take a cost call there, because this was a time when at the end of the day, even the people that we eventually said please leave, and we gave them appropriate severance packages and all that, but still at the end of the day you're telling someone that we are facing the uncertain era of the century or ever historically actually.
In our lifetime for sure.
In not
Not
just
over
our
yet.
ever, like मतलब black plague के time पे भी global government mandated lockdown तो नहीं हुआ था.
Correct.
Ever in history of mankind. And I'm choosing this time to tell you that you please go. You don't have a job also to add to on top of that. But we did that. And had we not done that, I think we would have been weaker for it as an organization. So
Did you
that's
have those chats yourself with people?
I did not. So I did town halls myself. I had a few chats myself, but compared to the magnitude of the people that eventually had to leave, they would all have heard me talking on video. I would have met a very microscopic proportion of them. But yeah, there were also 6-7 countries. But I became an expert at labor law, by the way. And one thing I must say, I was at the time dealing with Southeast Asia and Middle East. The governments of these countries of India around the world, and I don't think this ever gets spoken anywhere, but so many governments in so many democratic countries around the world, in retrospect I also know this about Europe now, I'm looking at the European business, I know what happened before, was so supportive
Oh, really?
of businesses. Because they realized that at the end of the, and it was true, right? It actually was the fact that either I pay everyone's salary and then all of us are out of a job in 6 months' time, or I have to take a very brutal call and say that, sorry, yes, I did address a vision meeting 1 month ago and say that we will grow 5x, but sorry, you're out of a job now because there's no revenue. Main kya karu? And the governments totally understood this, and they totally set up arbitration mechanisms which were very fair and which understood this, and this was across countries. So that was big change. The second thing we did, which was fantastic, was we said this is the time to get our tech right, because अभी customer है ही नहीं, तो जो experiment करना है वो करो. 5% customer base बचा है.
Correct.
So let's do proper experimentation, let's figure out tech, let's really deeply, and what we have today is as a result of those days of this thing. But that was the biggest challenge. Second is I now look after a business which is OYO Vacation Homes, which we acquired from the At Leisure Group, which is an agglomeration of 3 companies. It's a 65-year-old Scandinavian company called Dan Center, one of the first vacation homes companies in the world, if not the first. Remarkable company, right?
Yeah.
Profit making for 50 years.
Dutch, it's Dutch, right?
No, this is Danish.
Danish,
This is a
correct.
Scandinavian base.
Correct.
Then there's Belvilla, which is a Benelux based, which is, has a lot of Dutch heritage, is Benelux and Western Europe. 40-year-old company. Then there's Strom, which is a listings company, German, very German, 20-year-old company. And we've since acquired Direct Booker, Team Bornholm, and the vacation homes business of TUI. So managing the different cultures, geography, upbringing, and what professional life means, nature of company they've joined. All my colleagues have joined a hospitality company which is 60 years old. All my colleagues in India have joined a startup which is 7 years old. And 7-year-old Indian startup meets 65-year-old Danish traditional hospitality company. I mean, something interesting is going to happen, right? So,
And like most M&As kind of fail for clearly
Agree.
cultural synergy issues. This is
exactly.
like-
So I think that has just provided dramatic learnings, and without any doubt, the biggest learning has been the blindingly obvious one, which is the cliche and which is always the case. Just transparency and truth. There is just no comparison with the more you mollycoddle, the more you try to imagine how can I say this to Meghana so that she thinks it is right. वो सब end में नहीं चलता है. Just have to be brutally honest, and just say it like it is.
Yeah.
And eventually, people say thank you for your honesty.
Wow.
And some of them say that doesn't work for me and I'm leaving, but I'm still thanking you for your honesty. And the others are saying I actually like this, so I'm staying and I'm going to work with you. And in both cases, you've won. Because the other option was to keep mollycoddling, and it would have taken a lot longer, and they would have not gotten along with you anyway. But you're just trying to be nice and trying to avoid the pain. Actually, वो एक बहुत बड़ा learning है जो McKinsey में मिलता नहीं है. That how to be just honest in the face of acknowledging that this person is going to hate me basically after this conversation, but let's just be honest, because in the end this person will realize that it was for the best. ये बहुत बड़ा learning है actually.
Being
It's
nice and
very
having
hard to do.
Very hard.
It's very hard thing to do.
It's very unnatural. No?
But we all had no choice but to do it. COVID made no one had a choice.
सब धुल गया ना.
वो सब exactly.
Did you have to let people go?
Yeah, 9 people.
And did you do it
I had to do
eye
it
to eye?
I did myself.
How hard was that for you?
It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Actually.
Have you fired people before that? At
No.
McKinsey or before that?
No.
At
Who are
McKinsey,
we?
I've had many conversations, but you don't
Yeah,
fire
you don't
people.
fire anybody, na?
You have CTL conversations or DGL,
I've had
I'm
CTL
sure, right?
conversations.
I
and
not even
I've
had
had
that.
both CTL conversations and people trying to make up their mind on whether they should be leaving or not. Bombay Shaving Company is keeping me
It's
very
the Bombay Beer Company.
well lubricated. The Bombay Lubrication Company, but yeah. So no, I had those conversations before, but buddy, this does not compare.
I know.
This does not compare.
I don't have the...
Because in McKinsey, when you are having a conversation with an associate, it's a tough conversation. The person has career ambitions, which are, in some cases you're dashing.
I think letting people go is one thing that I have not been able to do. I have not done it yet at Bombay Shaving Company also.
I have no doubt.
And
Yeah.
No way.
yeah. If today was any indication,
I want to
go back,
negotiate with Shantanu next time.
Teddy bear,
He's
teddy
worse
bear.
than me. I am pretty rubbish, but you are incredibly rubbish.
No, but he's rubbish with like, I'm not gonna give you anything. Le chal. He's like that. I'm just exaggerating.
I
this,
no,
not
I tried.
please
No,
me.
you're absolutely.
Let me be clear that all the founders today deserved exactly, not just deserved. It was great of them to accept what we were
Yeah,
talking
of
about.
course.
So I'm not talking about them.
Yeah, even I'm not talking about them.
But buddy,
No, fully self-aware of the fact that on negotiation, I'm a huge I find it very uncomfortable
मेरे
to
से भी नहीं
negotiate.
होता है. मेरे से
I
भी
just cannot do it. Yeah.
ये एक और चीज है जो तुम्हारे लिस्ट में प्लीज लिखो, जो उस कंपनी में जो हम सब ने काम किया ना सिखा देने हैं.
हाँ. No, I also,
I find myself often in negotiations thinking, "तू सही बोल रहा है." And that's a death knell to the negotiation, right?
I agree with you.
I शपथ खरे है.
No, I also think it's a Maharashtrian thing.
Can I squeeze that?
Maybe I'm like they टाड़ी. That's a problem यार in a negotiation.
No, I find it very hard. I find it very hard to kind of do any of the tough things on the people front. Like letting people go, and I tell my leadership team also, okay, I'm slightly cowardly on this. You guys have to do this. I'm not going to be in the room. Like I find it very hard to do.
No, I've let them go, but I'll tell you something, and if it comes to that, I would actually tell you that you should do it. I'll tell you why. It is also, I have found that it is also about respect.
Yes.
I've had people tell me, thank you that you came to me physically and sat in front of me and told me point blank that you want me to leave. And you didn't say that, it's better for your career and this and that. And you just told me that, buddy, sorry, we just can't afford your salary or whatever it was that the reason was. And that person gets a lot out of it. They get their dignity, they get to keep their dignity.
Yeah.
They get a certain amount of clarity in their mind कि ये क्यों हुआ. And sometimes I feel like as the person who's taken the decision that I owe it, Game of Thrones and Ned Stark, who would say that if you're sentencing someone to death, you have to wield the sword yourself.
Yeah.
That's a very grotesque analogy, but
Yeah.
there's that makes the point that I was making. So for that reason, I felt that the times that I've done it, I feel good for having done it.
Yeah.
I feel bad that it came to that, but
How
once
long
it
did you
came
take
to
to get
that,
over it? Do you get over it, or do you, like?
yeah, you don't get over it.
No.
You kind of
Make peace with it.
make peace with it.
I have never been able to break up, by the way. I was like relationships fester till the other person is forced.
वो तो लोचा है ना. लेकिन.
बहुत लोचा है, dude. Like it is not. It is a very bad thing to do.
There are some girls in I am Lucknow who still think they're dating Shantanu.
Somebody call Sakshi here. What the hell is going on here?
No, she is very aware. Like it's like very hard
So
to
thank
tell.
God she's very aware. She doesn't need to find out new things from this episode.
No,
But
but
yeah.
generally, like my relationship before Sakshi, like they just kind of sputtered to a stop, and the other person.
Are you
said-
sure they're sputtered to a stop, or
Ah,
are there
that
still
other
two
person-
women who are waiting for you to break up with them?
No, they reached out and like it's.
They reached out. कभी reach out किया? This is a very interesting conversation. Exactly.
Two, three had a very intense relationships, by the way, to be honest. And they never reached, there was never conflict or fighting, but they just kind of grew apart.
Sputtered.
Grew apart, distance, moved out of the city or whatever.
Very tough, yaar.
And I just did not, my broader point is I never had the heart to give bad news. I always tell myself everything that you both are telling me today. Okay, it's good to do, it's respectful, full of dignity, it's the right thing, be brave. Short-term spike in pain is better than long-term lack of clarity and,
लेकिन मान ले next time this moment comes and someone just pushes you into the room, तो क्या करेगा? You will not say it if someone just pushes you into a room. Let's say you have to fire me You have taken the call in a management meeting, or whatever. And they just say, ki, nahi, Shantanu, you have to do it. And they just push you into, they arrange a meeting, they don't tell you, and they push you into the room with me and say, abhi bol isko. Kya karega tu? What do you think?
It might take a while for it to escape my.
It's a while, but we are in the room and I'm asking you, why did you
You're
call
in
me?
the room already.
Why did
The
you call
HR
me?
lady
I'll
is
build the
here.
courage to do it.
To ye kar, Shantanu. Do it this way then, if no other way. As Yoda said, there is no try, there is only do. Just do it.
Maybe. I'm hoping that, yeah. Yeah. Now I'm
No,
wondering.
no, it may not be about firing someone.
Yeah.
But the broader theme, I think it's worth.
Delivering hard messages.
It's just.
It's very hard to do. And McKinsey, you're right. At McKinsey, are also places where even feedback is like 30 minutes of you're amazing at this and 5 minutes of can you work on these two,
Maybe
three
you want to
things?
think about this.
That's just you.
Yeah.
I've got lots of feedback which is 30 minutes about your shit.
Live.
And 5 minits about, itna bhi khabar. No, I'm kidding. No, but that's not everyone. I trust me. It's not like everyone gets 30 minutes of fantastic stuff followed by 5 minutes of bad. I've given lots of feedback to people where it's, let's say, 50-50 at least.
But what was personally hard for you building out Slurrp Farm? Professionally, we have discussed it, but like, has it, like every founder who I've spoken to underestimates the personal toll building an enterprise takes on them. Like, are you self-aware about what you have sacrificed or the kind of mental load you have taken to build Slurrp Farm with Shorvi?
Oh, 100%.
You are?
I don't think I always. See, I'm also not a 20-year-old founder. I think fun is that perhaps helps. I also have no choice, right? There are a few things that are non-negotiables. Like when you have a kid, there is that time is that kid's time only. Like you can't. There is 10-year-old has 10-year-old issues. Yeah, it is. I found coping mechanisms. Let me just say for how difficult entrepreneurship is. I do not think I had. Nobody ever estimated because you always think, उनको तो 20 साल लगे, हम तो बड़े smart है, हम तो 7 साल में करेंगे. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Everybody will take. It takes the time that it takes the time, and the daily. It is a grind. I am very grateful that I have a co-founder. I really don't know how. I don't think I could have done it alone. I think firstly, both the good days and the crap days. It's really nice to have somebody to.
Yeah.
It's like a marriage, right? Yeah, it really is like a marriage. So it is quite nice to have a partner in this journey. I think it would be very difficult without. Yeah, so I think those two things, right? One is having a very, very good relationship. Actually, now it's not just Shorvi. That's what's nice. It's about 5-6 others in the company as well, with whom we can be open, right? About when things are, there's a tough problem to solve. Monday is the day where we take on the problems and address them. So I think that it's that. So putting in place a couple of things that make you joyful. Joy. Actually, one of our values is living with joy. Do what you love and do it with joy.
I love that.
Yeah, it is because I was like, what is this? This is too long race, na?
And joy is so underrated.
Yeah. I've
Joy
never
is
understood
really
why.
underrated.
I love that word.
Yeah.
It just makes me happy.
Yeah.
So,
Happiness is overrated.
huh?
Everyone craves for happiness, forgetting that if you have joy,
Yeah.
I've actually, minor
Yeah.
philosophical
So,
digression
yeah.
back
But
to
what-
you soon.
big
As you
distinction-
grow older,
Yeah.
you realize there's joy,
Yeah.
there's happiness, there is satisfaction.
Make the distinction.
Khushi, anand, samaadaan.
Hi.
There's a difference.
What a difference?
Joy is jumping into a puddle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happiness is watching your son jump into a puddle.
Hi.
Satisfaction is knowing you've jumped into puddles.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right?
so I'm at level
As
1.
you grow, no, but check this out. As you grow older, you realize that joy gives you happiness and happiness gives you satisfaction.
Yeah.
When you're younger, you say that, I don't want to watch this Rambo movie for the 5th time. Instead, I should study.
Yeah.
Why? Because Rambo movie gives me joy. What bizarre thing. I don't even like Rambo. I don't know why I'm using that analogy, but anyway. That gives me joy. The studies is going to give me happiness. Right? not knowing that many years later you're going to remember the bloody Stallone movie you watched here, and not the studies that you did, because they'll give you some degree which may or may not have an influence on your life later on. And that's the case, like, if you look at our relationships, right, and I'm sure this resonates with you a little bit, but our relationships are made sweeter and deeper also by deep decisions that we make, but more prominently by the everyday small joys of life, no?
Yeah.
It's about that movie that you just randomly watch. It's about that conversation that you have in the evening which you haven't planned for. So I really think that when you're younger, you crave कि मैं कुछ करूँगा and then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
फिर और कुछ करूँगा and then I'll be satisfied. Satisfied तो is like some. And then you grow older, and then you realize just be joyful every day, yaar. If you're joyful every day, there's no greater happiness than that. And if you're happy as a result, there's no bigger satisfaction than having led a happy, joyful life. So it all just tends into one.
Is this a post-COVID realization?
This is a realization I had over a drink with some of my best friends and Anita just last week.
Oh wow!
It was a very fresh realization.
Okay, I'm a bit faster than clearly both of you because I realized this 15 years ago and
Wow.
I've been living it every single day. I've only articulated
But it is so
recently.
amazing that it's a value, yaar. Really.
Yeah, but that was a choice I made very long ago, actually.
And it actually is a choice.
Oh, 100%.
Like pursuing
100%.
joyous experiences is a choice.
I think certainly for people with privilege.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. What?
So, one more thing. Breathing fresh air. It's very underrated.
I completely agree.
It is really quite spectacular. So I try and run away into the mountains as much as I can.
Yes.
Not often enough. Yeah.
But
always.
has COVID kind of allowed you the flexibility to do that more often over the last 2 years at least?
We had other personal stuff going on. My husband's parents both passed away over the past 2 years, so there was a lot of hospital and stuff like that. So no, we couldn't do that, but we did a little bit when there was a bit of respite because school was Zoom. But kids really suffered, right? So it was not really it was a small win in a very difficult time for the world.
How do you optimize for professional choices in this khushi, anand, samaadaan framework? Like, at least for me,
You don't. For me, somewhere along the way in McKinsey, professional and personal boundaries just got dissolved. अभी मेरे को ऐसा, I don't think of it as professional optimization and personal optimization.
I was just going to say.
I am very aware, by the way, that I am deeply and dramatically privileged to be able to say this. It's like what Bjorn Borg said, it doesn't matter if you win or lose as long as you win.
correct.
So I'm saying my professional and personal boundaries don't matter because I'm privileged enough that they don't need to matter. I can distinctly choose personal things over professional things and treat it as one life. Right now I want to focus on this, so I will just give away my professional and it doesn't matter. I have the privilege of being able to do so. I know that because there was a time when I thought I would never have that privilege. And when I was a student and so on, at that point I didn't have that privilege. ये करने का है तो करने का है भाई. You have to study.
Correct.
Because private college में admission लेने का fees नहीं दे सकता है. My father told me कि get a government college, free seat as they call it, which is not free but almost free. You be my guest, do whatever you want. Private fee, we don't have the money. Just fair. I will still pay your private tuitions for BSc and BCom. But I can't do it for medicine or engineering, which was like exorbitant.
Correct.
So तभी तो clear था भाई 12वीं का marks मिलाने का है आणि you have to do it.
Correct.
Otherwise you do BSc. I was by the way okay with that. But I just felt कि कुछ करते हैं. So that 1 year I really studied the heck out.
In 12th.
So at that time I was clearly 12th. So it was very clear that I was making choices between. That's an extreme. Today I'm at the other extreme.
Correct.
I don't optimize one or the other. I just optimize life. उसमें कभी-कभी प्रोफेशनल थोड़ा सेकेंडरी होता है, कभी पर्सनल सेकेंडरी होता है.
आई थिंक मेरे लिए ना वो भी थोड़ा अलग है क्योंकि मुझे ये विनिंग बहुत अच्छा लगता है. तो मुझे वो वो नो पेन नो गेन टाइप्स वो इट्स पार्ट ऑफ द ये है.
Do you like winning or do you like to be seen to be winning?
Oh no, I like to win. I
So
don't
if
care
you
about
win a medal but you
I
don't
have
get
to
to
believe
stand
we
on the
won.
podium.
Oh no, we have got many trophies. But if it's not an important enough trophy to the person in front of me in the mirror, it's not important.
That's very different from me.
It's the
huh?
Meghana
I
Narayan
want to be
trophy.
seen.
Oh no.
I am a very immature brat like that. वो
No,
मेरे
it's
को
external
appreciation
validation, no?
बहुत मेरे को external validation बहुत मांगता है life में, which is a problem. Which is a problem.
No, I have to say it's very nice to stand on
Less
a
now,
podium
but
and the
even then.
national anthem is playing and the flag is flying.
yeah.
That is for sure. That I like.
Yeah.
But also mostly I'm happy to be to understand, like from inside.
Did you ever play sports? Like at a
Yeah,
certain...
yeah. No, at no level. I played sports a lot, but at no level. Chappal, डांबर का रास्ता, rubber ball, cricket. Khalas. That's the description of my entire childhood.
डांबर का रास्ता is so...
अरे डामरी रास्ता, स्लिपर वो भी स्टंप्स बनने के लिए वो निकालना पड़ता है. Correct. और समर वेकेशन में धूप में डामर के रास्ते में हम लोग भाग के स्विंग करते थे, बॉल बाउंस करते थे, सब कुछ करते थे भाई. एंटायर समर्स दैट्स हाउ दे वर. आणि दुपारी पत्ते.
Wow. And Bharavit, how much did you get to get into whatever?
And I got so PCB. How much was it? 286 out of 300, so 95.3 or something.
Wow. बोर्डात होता का?
नाही 12वीत बोर्ड वगैरे नव्हतं, 10वीत बोर्डात असायचं. 12वीत so I got into JJ Hospital, which was the so there were 3 municipal colleges and 1 government college, so I got into the government college.
Wow.
And the amazing thing about competition in India is that I got 286. The reason I remember the marks and
How
not
do you
the
remember?
percentage.
I just try to remember.
I'll tell you why I remember the number and not the percentage.
Yeah.
Because entire JJ Hospital open category
All got that number.
started at 287 and ended at 285. There were 2 people with 287, 2 people with 285. Everyone else had 286. So that's why I remember 286.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that's what it is. Yeah. If I had 284, I'm not a doctor because then government college to 4 ही है, 3 municipal, 1 government. And I don't have the money for that. So that was an interesting time. Wow. But I was saying that those were the times when Mandar Commission also happened. Then. So this was also about open category seats reducing. I was open category. So all of that played a very big role in my life. Yeah, because I was like, shit, if I don't do this, it's gone. The seat is gone. And then before my eyes, the admissions got delayed because people filed a case in court. And it's like this, right? 286 versus 285.
Crazy.
और थोड़ा reservation हो जाएगा तो that will also, like 1 mark will just change
Yeah.
it. What times
OBC or
people,
whatever.
what
Yeah.
times students see in India.
Yeah, I completely.
But now I have, grown with the benefit of the beyond board quote. It doesn't matter if you win or lose as long as you win. Now that I did get into JJ and I have seen the life I have seen, I've become a believer in the fact that reservations have done more good than harm to India.
For sure.
I think caste reservations and I was a staunch anti this, but I really now think that they have done more good for India than harm, and the great Mr.
I think
Ambedkar
as you grow older, inequity kind of you start, especially for me. Like once I started setting up the company, till then I was in a cocoon. To be very honest, I don't know how it was for you, but for me, I was always in a cocoon till I was born rich, went to good schools, always had money. McKinsey was always so until this happened. And I had access to suddenly people from very different backgrounds, and you suddenly realize that you're so lucky because you attribute a lot of it to competence, which actually you should.
Yeah, you
attribute
think
to
मैं great है.
It should have been attributed to luck, but it is not. But now you see, fuck yeah, there is someone with like 5x competence, but just, for example, for you, instead of 286, had you got 282? Same preparation, same
Correct,
intellect, your life would have been very different today.
Very
in my
different.
view.
Actually, maybe not, na. It's not like he's being a doctor right now.
No,
But you would not have gone to government.
But
you would have
imagine
gone
what
to
it's doing
BSc.
to my confidence now.
That's
I'm
true.
doing BSc in BN Bandodkar College of Science instead of medicine
Fair
in the JJ
enough.
group of hospitals.
Sure.
Am I taking the CAT? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not taking it because I just think I'm not worth it. I'm doing NIIT and becoming a software engineer in
Actually, it's so
Infosys, working
sad,
for
right?
30
That how that
years.
one grade affects so much.
It really does.
And for the kids who,
Well, it
if
used
you
to.
get a good grade, you just start to think, you start to believe the Kool-Aid, that you're clever.
Yeah.
And you know what? I genuinely believe that perception is reality. You start believing you're good,
Yeah.
you then start becoming good because you start backing yourself.
Yeah,
You
totally.
start-
100%.
Yeah.
no, then the difference just keeps increasing.
Yeah.
It's a cricketing thing also. Like you see it in sports a lot.
Visualization.
You just see people
Yeah.
who suddenly get one piece of success they'll kind of back it up again. Like for example, what we're seeing with Surya Kumar Yadav now is 1 year of visualization, yeah, or like 5 years of visualization, 1 year of delivery.
Finer.
The
I don't
ball
know if you saw
passes
this.
here, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Just
little bit
complete
finer,
total
break his
confidence.
face.
Yeah. Total confidence. Sorry.
No.
Suddenly
watch
went
cricket?
into cricket.
The big ones.
Did you watch the match the other day against Zimbabwe? It
That
was
was
not a big match,
one.
but
I don't think it qualifies as a big one.
no, but
It
that innings was priceless, yeah.
Yeah, it was spectacular.
Yeah.
No, I'm a huge fan of cricket, yeah.
Yes, he is.
No, but to your point, I have made almost all of my closest friends
Yeah.
on the sports field.
No.
Sure.
Closest, like close.
Very
My best
interesting.
friend from college. I used to play football at a decent level. At one point,
Yeah.
thought I will make it into something. I never did as much as you did, but I always spent a lot of time on the football pitch. At engineering, I am Lucknow. McKinsey, I was a part of with Rennie and Rahul Chaudhary and Satya and all of these guys play football every Saturday. But
Nice.
I think sports genuinely brings the best out of you and the most authentic
Yeah.
version of you in the public eye, or at least in front of people. I genuinely think what I learned on the football pitch was far bigger learning
Also,
than anything else.
Shantanu learns about Shantanu most there, I feel.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah.
Fully. Whether you'll pass the ball or not, how you react when someone fucks up.
Yeah.
Are you able to take a weak player and convert them into the best player basis their strengths or whatever? I completely agree. But I wanted to kind of touch upon one important element for both of you, which is parenthood in your lives. And I think Mandar, like, just start with you. Like, how is it, like, especially given COVID? She's 4 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe more than half his life has been pandemic. But how has parenthood changed you? And for I remember long time conversations with you and Anita were very happy without kids. Or,
Yeah.
In the future.
No, it's very simple. We were very happy without kids, and then we weren't.
Together?
Actually, we took turns to want kids, and then we both wanted kids, and it was amazing.
Oh, wow.
I felt this real. I don't know how to describe it. Like this real visceral driving force, almost to want to be a father. I was suddenly watching laughing baby videos on YouTube. For 6 months, I was just watching baby videos.
So
it was
this
bizarre.
is after you had quit.
Sorry?
This
After I
after-
had quit, yeah. I was watching baby videos. It was bizarre.
What are you saying?
And then I was telling Anita, I really want a baby. Like, we really should do it. And she was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, this is not the way to express. Like, every time we are hanging out, you're just watching baby videos.
I
I
see random baby videos.
I was watching laughing baby videos. Just type laughing baby videos on YouTube. There's a bunch of videos of babies laughing.
Yeah.
It's self-explanatory and it's wonderful. And I was like, dude,
Did you chance upon one and then it grew, or you just kind of found
No,
yourself
I just
gravitated
found
towards it?
myself
Crazy.
searching for babies, and I really wanted to be a father, and then we became parents, and it's how has it changed me? That's a tough one. How has it changed me? You discover love in a very different way. Yeah? You discover love in a very different way, and I mean they are all cliches.
Yeah.
So it's going to sound, but yeah, it's a very different experience of love. Let me put it that way. That kind of love you don't feel for at least I don't feel for other humans.
Yeah.
The kind of love that one feels for one's child. It's a very different kind of love. कुछ भी माफ कर देते हो, like he'll do just the most vile naughty things.
To be clear, he's 4.
Haan.
But yeah.
Yeah, he's 4, to be fair. But it's just amazing to see that you develop a lot of patience. Although I am an impatient person, so relatively speaking, you develop a lot of patience. But more than anything, I think the biggest thing that has changed me is I've just again realized how miraculous life is. Like, what a miracle. Like, now we look at, he's only 4. We look at his photos, like Anita just put her display pic on WhatsApp, which is a photo of him from when he was 2 or something. Looks like a different human being only.
Yeah.
When he was born, different human being. Like, first 1 year, so I'm telling you, and you know this, every 10 days they look like a different baby. Like, who is this? Is this the same person that I knew 10 days back? And then they start developing and growing, and suddenly they're speaking, and suddenly they're calculating, and suddenly they're wearing their own clothes, and suddenly different things start mattering to them, and they are friends now. And They have their own opinions now suddenly, and like what's happening? So it's just the most visceral experience of the miracle of life. I guess it's now I'm getting too philosophical, but it really is.
Yeah.
It's you experience love in a way that you can't otherwise. That's the simplest way that I can explain it. I don't know if you're a mother. For you, it's more visceral.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about that. I think it's yes, there's more written about it as for motherhood, but
No, it also is deeply
actually
physical for
me.
me. It's not
Yeah, no,
just
of course.
emotional.
For me, I think the first year was like a bit of like crazy. It was like a due diligence project, right? Because like feeding this thing.
क्या analogy है? फोड़ देगा.
You're just trying to deliver on certain milestones, like really
Non-negotiable, yeah.
Though you already delivered.
You got I had delivered
The
baby, and then you're like, we Mandar and I used to do public health work, right? We used to run around UP and Bihar telling women to breastfeed. So I was like, I'm going to breastfeed this kid till like, as long as I can. So it was a lot of all self-inflicted stupidities. So I think it was a bit. I think after year one is when I started to enjoy it. Actually, for me, more than my own or Naba's, watching my parents was just so joyful, right? Because especially my dad, who he was so busy. Like I have my dad, was a professional. My mom was a homemaker, and so my mom basically ran our lives. And my brother and I, and my dad sort of went to work and came back home, and so he was just like super enjoying this second version of Meghna, right? And like during COVID, the whole time where I can imagine what it was for BSc, it was really stressful. He would do 2 hours with Nandita of Tata class.
Wow.
Which is he would read history book or Google like a bunch of stuff, and then let's talk about the revolt of 1857. So, and I don't know how much he learnt, but like the joy of that relationship has been super nice to watch. That for what it's done for both my parents and my daughter. It's nice.
I think that generation, for example, spent so much time worrying about their own kids. Like I think our parents
and also making ends meet and
like it's a resource scarce country.
Yeah.
You are like for you also like
survival,
one job of 40 years survival. You don't do it. You kind of try to make it. Life was hard.
Yeah.
I don't think they enjoyed parenthood the way they're enjoying grandparenthood.
Yes.
Possibly.
100%.
Probably true.
Because it just they just have a lot more time, lot more money.
Yeah.
Access, they can easily fly and do vacations with the kids and stuff like that, which they could never do with their own kids.
Yeah.
Or I don't think they even do with their own parents, to be honest. It was actually the first time they're actually living a liberated, childhood in their own way. That's amazing.
True.
Yeah.
Does it change the way you kind of think about professional choices, like being a parent? Like, was it harder to start Slurrp Farm, or for example, for you, was it around the same time? Like
I stayed on the sabbatical till Rishi was 6 months old.
Okay.
So Anita and I had discussed that first 6 months though we'll both be home. She was also she still is on a sabbatical. So we said both of us together at home full time with Rishi 6 months. That's what we want. So first 6 months. Then I went out.
But did it influence the kind of work you wanted to do, or two different kind of something that kept you?
No, I think yes and no. So I would never go back to consulting, for example.
Yeah.
Just takes too big a toll. Just physically too much time away from home. And I've found a way. One of the things that happens with age, and specifically if you've if you look at my life, I've always been a 8 hours a night sleeper. 12 में मैं पढ़ रहा था, I just told you guys. तभी मैं रात को 8 घंटा सो रहा था. I did MBBS. मैं 8 घंटा सोया आ रहा.
Yeah.
Then I did Jamnadas Bajaj. मैं 8 घंटा सोया आ रहा.
Then
I did MBA from then I did McKinsey. Mostly मैं 8 घंटा सोया आ रहा. I was a McKinsey partner. मैं 8 घंटा सो रहा था. So one develops a certain confidence that I can maintain the balance that I want because I have ये कर दिया ना तो ठीक है हो जाए ऐसा कुछ nothing is going to fall apart if I draw these boundary lines and frankly I discovered that around the time I became EM that if you draw boundaries and you stick to them, kuch nahi hota hai bhai. You just do, you end up doing your work more efficiently.
100%.
Is what it is. Because as long as you trust in yourself that I'm not going to be, I'm not going to unfairly leave work undone just because I've said I won't work after X time in the day. As long as you say, itna bhi inflexible nahi hai. But I want to be able to sleep. Yaar. I mean, I've always felt like सोने को ही तो try कर रहा हूँ मैं. It's not like I'm doing something else, right? So itna to it's worth it, and I've managed that. So that I was confident that way I won't allow professional life. Now what got added to those 8 hours is I wanted to make sure that before Rishi goes to sleep, I'm with him for half an hour, which won't happen today by the way, but he's probably already asleep. But I'm there telling him a story in Marathi because otherwise I speak too much Hindi at home. But I'm telling him a story at night, and in the morning I'm there with him before I leave, and that happens 80% of the time. So I'm very happy, and Saturday, Sundays I'm with him only. So it's managed that well. It didn't affect my professional choice in that sense.
Maybe aided, right? In some way, like kind of.
It aided. It pushed me to be more mindful of what awaits and all.
I remember you telling me also when we were like, I remember when I just paid EM, Mandar gave, and I was JEMing like 11 JA1s and BA1s. 11 with Avinash Goyal, who was a partner or an AP tried to play a partner's role. Chandrika was an EM trying to play an AP's role. I was a JEM trying to play
Everybody
EM's
trying.
role. And then we had Saiki, Vipul, Jaydit, Shirish, and like 4 or 5 super senior people who were not playing any role but just to kind of show up once a month. And Priya was
They came for lunch.
just to come and meet Jay off and shoot the breeze, literally shoot the breeze because we were in that Juhu house of his. And we used to get hammered, yaar. And I remember Mandar telling me that Mandar पे रोज fight होता है. He was like, yaar, you are working beyond 6:30 p.m. because you want to or you feel it's required because you have to showcase to a bunch of people that you are. Otherwise, it's not really required. Like you can just put the laptop, close the laptop, and then come back next morning and do it more efficiently. I remember you like kind of lived that yourself a lot.
Yeah, I did.
But yeah, I think amazing, yaar. I think I just feel everyone has such different journeys, and I think the journeys are always. After having spoken to so many people with a specific purpose to understand what got them to where they are, I just realized journeys are far more important than destination. And destinations are often unknown. It's like people just enjoy the journeys as they go and they land up in a good place.
I've always wanted to be that. I had a very curious conversation when I became McKinsey partner. You go to this NP or new partner orientation. And there's a session which is aspiration setting, where they try to tell you that you must aspire for something amazing because you're, not it. Something spectacular, you'll make a huge difference to humanity types. So, healthcare partner. So, they were looking for me saying, I'll transform healthcare in India, I'll change the face, like I'll save 100 million lives, something crazy like that. और मैं बोल रहा तेरा aspiration क्या है? Sir, I want to have fun every day. ये क्या aspiration है? No, I really do. That really is my aspiration.
Yeah.
I believe that if I'm having fun every day, I will do reasonably good things in the world.
You got to make a plan.
Oh, bilkul मजा नहीं है. Yeah, so Shantanu, I actually wanted to play back one of the questions you asked us, which is an interesting one. And tell me if you've answered this already on the BarberShop, in which case you don't want your audience to hear it twice. But the biggest challenge you've faced, both professionally and personally. And in personal side, I'm particularly curious because as you said, you were born rich. Your father is an entrepreneur who's had multiple entrepreneurial ventures.
Yeah.
When you talk about your personal challenges, I also want to know a little bit about you. How is it to be born to a already successful entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Was there ever an element of, I have to match up to that, or, like I have to be a successful entrepreneur? Did that play a role in what you did at all? So I would love to hear both.
Good point. I think for me, I'll be very honest, right? I won't say professional. I'll combine academic and professional into one question. I think for me, winning was very important, and to be viewed as a winner was very important. And I always felt I had potential to crack the JEE. Always felt I was damn good at maths. Like I knew I would ace it, right? But tried twice, failed both times.
Wow.
So I remember sitting in my mom's lap crying as a 17, 18-year-old after going to Kota for 10 months,
Wow.
paying 60,000 rupee fee, feeling super guilty
Oh,
about having done that.
Wow.
And then failing again because of just
You
ignoring.
took a gap year, huh?
I took a gap year.
Wow.
12वी झाली मतलब नाही झालं परत जाईन
अरे जबरदस्त है. This is a big leap of faith, huh?
huge leap of faith. Went to NIT Nagpur after that.
Because you know how it is in Marathi families, right? You take a year off, मतलब काय माजलेला मुलगा आहे, 1 वर्ष घरी बसलाय काय?
Correct. And my brother, on the other hand, was a prodigal, like genius, right? So he would know
Sir,
trigonometry.
is he older or younger?
Younger, thank God.
Oh no.
Otherwise, I would have been
But he
screwed.
was killing you.
Now it was more pride, less jealousy, right?
Yeah.
Older brother, like just following that
Yeah.
would have been crazy pressure. Thank God he was younger. Thank God. So I remember that, right? So I was in her lap, crying, feeling. So to the extent that my mom told my father, "Kid, don't leave the child alone for the next 1 or 2 weeks." She had to take my brother to Kota because I had forced her and my dad. He has to study 11th, 12th in Kota because that's the best way to get into IIT, and he's way smarter. पुणे में रह के उसका 1000 रैंक आएगा.
Your father's from IIT?
Yes. So there was that, right? करने का. Then I went to Nagpur. Yash, 2 years later, Yash and my mom lived in Kota. My dad was in Pune. I was in Nagpur. So distributed
Wow.
family. Yeah, fully distributed family.
Yash and your mom lived in Kota, huh?
I told my mom कि
तू रहा तिकडे त्याच्यावर.
हाँ, कि he is younger. We've kind of protected him also. He was a little bit of an introvert. Didn't have, like, had one friend. You know, always read books. Never a sports person. So I told my mom, Kota is a
केस पण असतील त्याला चांगले.
हाँ भरपूर. My mom,
He's good looking.
like brutal. Kota is brutal for people, right? So I told my mom that put him there and you stay with him. So we bought a house. My dad went there for a weekend, bought a house, set them up, came back to Pune to run his startup. I went to Nagpur to take admission. Yash and my mom studied, like Yash studied. My mom found a love for cold drinks of all things. Kota was a hot place. He said Coca-Cola is the best company in the world. Side kind of realization.
Happiness.
Not thumbs up, huh?
Whatever, Coke, thumbs up,
Coke,
Limca,
हाँ.
anything in the fridge, she wanted to kind of gulp it down. I saw my mom having unhealthy things for the first time. I was like, cool, Kota ka ek
So
sahi
she's a yoga.
Koha, yogic, classical music, health and all, but Coke.
Nothing in the face of the Coke formula.
But Yash got a
Sugar
rank
water.
of 50.
Huh.
So for me,
Wow.
I was like, yes.
Validated.
I was in 3rd year of engineering. Yash got a rank of 50, went to IIT Bombay. I was like, cool. Through him, I was kind of living my JEE days. Again, gave CAT. I was like, I am Ahmedabad jaunga, pakka.
Yeah, Lucknow.
Again, I kind of one subject I left the cutoff by 1 mark. And my kundali lila by that. That this child till the age of 23 will miss the biggest milestone of his life by whisker margins. It's literally written.
What?
Yes.
No
Till the
way.
age of 23, yeah. It's written in my book. So I
I
don't know
want to
whether it
meet this
manifested or whatever. Like
Is
it's
that
written in my
focus,
whatever.
Focus.
By
I know what a
whisker.
kundli is, dude. What do you think I'm from?
So whatever. So 6 years.
And at 23, you got into McKinsey.
So 21 I went to IIM Lucknow.
Yaar,
23,
you
23
got into
have a little
McKinsey.
shrine, yaar.
So 6 years I was in a place surrounded by people, all of whom had aimed for something and punched below their weight.
Wow.
Not without exception.
Wow. But this is such an amazing thing because, you know, on batch day, when I got into McKinsey, there were 3 campuses on batch day. XLRI, JBIMS, IIM Lucknow.
Correct.
2002. Big difference. IIM Lucknow, all IIM aspirants.
Yeah.
You know who are in JBIMS? CAT दिया ही नहीं, क्यों? Including me. CAT दिया ही नहीं कभी, क्यों? अब बॉम्बे छोड़ के कोई जाता है क्या पढ़ने के लिए MBA?
Wow.
So my entire batch in JBIMS is a bunch of people who are all from Bombay, who are all like Bombay is Bombay. मतलब अहमदाबाद में कौन? So it's just slightly ignorant, very Mumbaikar people
Correct.
who just happen to be quite. So it was such an interesting contrast. But sorry, back to
So
you.
for me, 6 years was everyday feeling I have punched below weight. So for me,
So sorry.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, look, in retrospect,
But
I'm
it's
not-
made you the person you are, na? Everything we go through.
And then McKinsey happened
And everyday
first.
joy नहीं आता ना उसमें.
But McKinsey
मुश्किल है.
was where I was like, boss, now I need to. So for me, like succeeding at the firm was a mission. I just could not, like I was obsessed about my ratings.
Wow.
For someone like me who didn't care about my marks,
मेरे को पता ही नहीं था मेरा
Suddenly.
ratings क्या है.
I was obsessed.
I was obsessed कि नौकरी से निकलना नहीं है.
तो मैंने तो boss,
मेरा बार इतना नीचे था.
तो मेरा नहीं, I was very clear that I don't belong here, but I will try my best. I used to, my first DGL was Rohit Kale, my second DGL was Rajat Gupta Chotu. I would write my EPRs, I would write my notes, I would schedule time with the assistant, I would ask her or him, when are all my feedback chats I want to know. Before those feedback chats, I would have chats. I would like kind process manage my, I was like, this is 2% of my time. I bloody better make it work. I was rated distinctive every time. I was like, boss, this is my like validation, because I felt underconfident and underachieving for too long to not make this count.
Wow.
So for me, that was for me.
Such an interesting thing.
McKinsey was not challenging, client service was not challenging, building a
Were
company.
your parents aware of this journey you were going through?
Yeah.
Of feeling, and what did they say to you about
They were always very supportive. But I always felt, Yash, like IIT Bombay, gold medalist, Stanford PhD. I always felt he was hitting the at his weight. I was always punching.
But it was Yash, not your father.
Sorry?
It was Yash, not your father, that you were thinking about when you were thinking about someone.
Later on. When he was a kid, not so much, but later on I was like, Dad and mom were very chill. Yeah? They never looked at what I studied. So for me, that was character building in a lot of ways. Those 6 years. That was the biggest professional challenge, or academic challenge as I call it, kind of coming back. And kind of it worked out well. Personally, I think you're right. I think it's a very good question actually. I grew up very privileged, but it came with a strange set of circumstances that kind of were difficult for me to handle. So I grew up in the US till my 4th, 5th standard, 9 or 10. I was born in the US, grew up in the US, all of that, right?
I want to say you have like a funny passport story, na?
Yeah, man. So I have a funny passport. I'll tell you in short.
Yeah.
So I was born there, and I would come back every summer vacation. I was the child with the accent, the cousin who was looked at funnily.
But so your whole family was with you in the US?
All of you were there? But that's it. The rest of the family was here.
But 4 of you were there?
4 were there. So I came back to India, then had to be in Trivandrum for a while, then Bangalore for a while, bullied in school, wore different clothes, had a different accent. So for a while that was difficult. By the time I went to 6th standard, every year was a different school. Every year different school. So struggle, like I genuinely, then like there was 4-5 years of stability in Pune, then Nagpur, then dad became an entrepreneur, and then it was just, I always felt kind of rudderless culturally also. And this, you don't know, right? I'm Maharashtrian, but I'm from Indore, but grew up in the US, but I speak an accent, but I'm studying in 2-3 different places, and you don't like, the good part is I always had good friends, but I always grew up, क्या म्हणतात त्याला भोळा, like भोला भाला जिसको बोलते हैं ना, like simpleton, easily can be fooled, believes everything, which I later on realized.
Gullible.
Very gullible. Supandi जिसको बोलते हैं ना, my nickname at home. You believe everything what everyone says, which I realized later on was a huge strength of mine. I just saw positive in people a lot, and never, but for a while it made me feel deeply underconfident, it took a while. I also put on a massive facade of confidence to just get over it even today, till date.
But would you say fake it till you make it works?
100%.
Works.
100%. Confidence manifests, yaar. Until you start believing it, until it starts happening, and then you're like, you have no option but to believe.
I agree. So, it's the same thing about happiness also.
Yeah.
It manifests. If you try to fake being happy for a while, in a little bit of time, as long as there's not something deeply factual that has gone really bad. So it's not like if your right leg just got amputated, then it's difficult to smile and feel happy after that. But
correct.
As long as it's not like something very, very factual.
Yeah.
So it's medically, physical act of smiling leads to happiness.
I'm not sure how much of that is WhatsApp University.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I actually saw it on a documentary on them.
In WhatsApp, you know.
But documentary कौन से channel पे देखा? उस पे भी
Netflix पे कुछ तो documentary था about happiness. Something. I remember seeing it in a. But yeah, on your 2 questions, those are the professional and personally. It's like my dad. I don't think I'll ever be able to match up. My grandmom lived with us, so she always like.
Babanchi,
right? My paternal grandmother made my father, maybe 90% deservedly so, seem like God's gift. He would walk to school 5 kilometers every day. You guys go in chauffeur-driven cars.
Study
right?
under the light, street
Haan,
light.
study under the light, and and he had a tough life. My dad lost his dad at 7. My dad was 7 and had 3 younger siblings. So I can only imagine how difficult their life was. So, and then from there to become Tech Mahindra CEO, living in the US, doing very well for himself was amazing to watch, build his own company and so on. So I never felt I could actually match up. So for me, my dad was always untouchable in terms of, in the eyes of my family, even today. I don't think I live up in any way. I kind of had the platform which he set. So whatever I do is, which is fine. I'm completely okay with that. I kind of agree with it also. But yeah, professionally, it was those 6 years of under punching, and personally, I think it was just, I never had a reason. My parents are the most loving human beings, even till date. Like, kind of, just I'm forgiven for everything and anything. I can get away with anything at home. As the older sibling who was more mischievous, I was okay. Yash was kind of more serious and so on, but I got away with everything. So yeah, but I think amazing how. Thanks for asking that question. Actually,
No, thank you for sharing. Very,
Amazing.
very nice to hear your story.
Amazing. I think just as we end, Meghana, Mandar, I think any thoughts or words of advice for people watching, most of whom are watching to get motivation on starting up themselves, being a part of the ecosystem, joining big companies, investing in big companies, like how would you view and nudge them to participate in the most meaningful way possible in any order?
I think a lot has been said about the power of compounding, right? I mean, it's funny, I tell my daughter this all the time, which is every day little bit. Like a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. So don't underestimate what that can do for you, both personally and professionally, whatever it is you're doing. But doesn't mean, like eye on a prize. I think having a prize is important. At least for me, it's important to understand what I'm shooting for, because then I'll not know which direction to go in if I don't have that. So try and figure out what you love, because it's very easy then to figure out a path, right? But the first step is, I think, 50% of battle is figuring out what you want to do. Then after that, you'll figure out a way. Not always be easy. There'll be rubbish days and great ones. And for those looking to start out, find yourself a co-founder.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That important, huh?
I think so. Yeah.
You don't think you would have been able to build Slurrp Farm alone? Not Shorby aside, but
Yeah.
alone, like let's say all
No.
of
I don't think it'll be as much fun. That's
Oh,
it.
man, fun.
And I prioritize that a lot in my life. So, yeah.
What about you, Mandar?
Yeah, I would say 2 things. Firstly, सब लोग जो ये देख रहे हैं बहुत सारे लोगों के पास पैसा नहीं है.
Correct.
Everyone is watching. Let me first begin by saying there is no shame, there is nothing wrong, nothing
Yeah.
in optimizing for money.
Correct.
अगर पैसा नहीं है ना तुम्हारे पास तो पहले फिगर आउट करो पैसा कैसा बनेगा.
Correct.
वो अगर नौकरी करने से बनता है लेकिन दिमाग में धंधे का आइडिया है. आई कम फ्रॉम अ स्कूल ऑफ थॉट और वॉट एवर इट इज माई बिलीफ कि पहले फिगर आउट कर लो बस. पैसा बनाना जरूरी तो है. एंड टुडे यू माइट बी अलोन, बट you know, hopefully if you are alone today you'll soon fall in love. Hopefully you already have people who love you and who you love, like your parents, your siblings, your friends, etc. Having money matters. So first sort that out.
Yeah.
Is the simple thing I would say. It's like again repeating the same pure book. It doesn't matter if you lose or win as long as you're winning. So जब लोग बोल रहे हैं कि रिस्क लो ये वो, भाई पैसा है तो रिस्क लो, पैसा ही नहीं है तो I would still say कि पहले solve for that. Once you solve for that, then I would say, and I'm wondering if I should say this, I'm aware that this is a social platform, and am I truly convinced about this? I am truly convinced about this. I think for 90% of humanity, I think you are better than you think you are. And this I just base on just having met a lot of people. I think most people that I've met in life, I've become a very optimistic guy because I've found that most people I meet in life are much better than they think they are.
Yeah.
It's just, or maybe it's just the people I meet, I don't know. So, figure out how to make money and just know that if you're doubting yourself, just you'll probably make it. Yeah. It's okay. Chota chota, if you think something is critical and it's worth doing it, just do it. It's like for me, it was that 12th standard exam. It was important. Focus kiya, wo ho gaya. For you, it was that McKinsey interview. It happened. For you, it was continuing winning. It happened. So I think what's in front of you, give it your best shot. But know that you're better than you think you are. And before taking massive risks, there is no shame in saying, "Abhi utna paisa nahi hai, main thode paise kamata hu, fir risk lunga." I think that's absolutely fine. I think that's it.
Amazing. But thank you so much, Mandar, Meghna. I think today has been amazing for me to kind of be back in the same rooms with you guys, evaluating, problem solving, pitching to founders to get them to accept our capital, and then having this very barbershop season 1-esque discussion over alcohol. But privilege truly for me and for our listeners to have you kind of share your life experiences so candidly, openly, and I'm hoping this is the first of many interactions, given season 2 is going to be very long and company journeys are are over decades, as we call them, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully we will see you back in the barbershop in 2, 3, 4 months to see how these companies are doing and maybe look at some more new ones. But thank you so much and really appreciate your generosity with the time and with your thoughts both. Thank you.